you shouldn't have listened.
I camp alone. Not for adventure, not for escape, just to quiet things down inside my head. There's something about long stretches of nothing but trees, wind, and dirt that resets me in a way the real world can't. The woods behind Laurel Ridge were my favorite spot. Not an official campsite, not a known trail, just a patch of old-growth pines where the ground sank soft under your boots and the air always smelled like rain, even when the sky was clear. Nothing weird ever happened there. Not until last September. I got to the ridge late in the afternoon and pitched my tent under a half-bent pine, the kind of tree that looked like it had leaned too far once but decided not to fall. I boiled water, ate something microwavable I'd pretended was camp food, and settled in for a quiet night. The sun dipped faster than I expected. The woods got dark in a way they don't usually get dark. A silence that felt practiced, like the forest was holding its breath. But I brushed it off. Woods are like that. Wind shifts, animals settle, everything changes around dusk. Nothing worth worrying about. Around 11 p.m., I crawled inside the tent and zipped it shut. I lay there listening to the fabric pull tight, the nylon creaking softly as it adjusted to the night. After a while, the forest exhaled, a deep, low sigh that rolled through the trees. I told myself it was wind, except nothing moved. Not a branch, not a leaf, not a single blade of grass. Wind comes from one direction. This was everywhere. I sat up. The tent bulged inward, just slightly, like a hand pressed against it from the outside. Then the fabric relaxed, then bulged again. Something was breathing. Not loud, not deep, just steady, rhythmic, as if the entire tent were expanding and contracting with each breath. I grabbed my flashlight and clicked it on, shining it at the fabric. Nothing. Just nylon glowing with light. No silhouette, no shadow, no movement. I waited. The breathing stopped. I told myself it was my imagination, a trick of the cold air outside mixing with the warm air inside. But when I lay back down, I heard twigs snapping outside. Not random snaps. Footsteps. Slow, measured footsteps circling the tent. Crunch. Pause. Crunch. Crunch. I didn't open the tent, didn't call out. Something in the way those footsteps moved told me it wasn't someone lost, or curious, or harmless. It circled the tent twice, stopped behind me, and let out another long, low breath. The tent fabric pressed inward again, firmer this time, closer to my head. I held my breath and waited. After almost a minute, the pressure faded and the footsteps continued moving, not away, but deeper into the woods. And I heard something I still don't understand. A whisper. Not a voice, more like air trying to form words. A soft, stuttering sound, like someone learning how to speak again after years of silence. I slept with the flashlight on, if you can call that sleeping. At sunrise, everything looked normal. Nothing disturbed, no footprints outside the tent, not even mine, no bent grass, no broken branches. I packed up early and started back down the ridge. Halfway to the trailhead, I saw something carved into a fallen tree. Not carved with a knife. Carved with something dull, forcing its way into the wood. 3 long vertical gouges, each one deeper than my fingers. I froze. Then I saw more of them, on another tree, and another. all following the path I had walked the night before. The forest wasn't just breathing, it was awake, following, learning. I walked faster, but the deeper into the woods I went, the more gouges appeared. Some fresh, some old. None of them random. They formed a pattern, wide apart at first, then closer together, then so close they carved into each other. Like something tall had dragged its fingers across the trees while walking upright. Something trying to stay balanced, or to keep from falling. I almost ran the rest of the way. When I reached my car, I tossed everything inside without folding it, without brushing off dirt, without looking back. But I made one mistake. I looked at the tree line, and something tall stood between the pines, not moving, not hiding, just watching. Head tilted, shoulders too narrow, arms hanging too close to the ground. I blinked. It was gone. That was 6 months ago. I haven't camped since. Haven't gone near any woods. Moved to a new apartment, new job, new routine. But I still hear breathing at night. Soft, measured, like nylon stretching inward. Last week, the gouges started appearing on the walls near my bed. Not carved, scraped, as if something tall is dragging its fingers across the drywall, trying to remember how close my tent used to be, trying to shape the world like the one it met me in, trying to find the right distance. Last night, the wall beside me pulsed, just once, a slow breath pushing outward. And somewhere in the drywall, behind the paint, behind the wood, behind the insulation and the brick and the world I built to protect myself, something whispered. Not words, just the outline of them. Like it's still learning my language the same way I learned its breathing. I think it remembers the campsite. And I think it wants me to go back. I used to sleep with the bedroom door closed. Not locked, just shut. It made the room feel smaller, safer, like the world stopped at the edge of the carpet. My wife started the habit years ago, and I kept it even after she moved out. It wasn't because of anything supernatural, just comfort, routine. Until the night the door started opening on its own. The first time, I didn't think much of it. I woke around 2:30 a.m. to get water and found the door cracked an inch. I figured I hadn't shut it fully. Old hinges, wood expansion. Any excuse would have made sense. I closed it again, firmly this time, and went back to bed. The second time happened 2 nights later. Same thing, 2 or 3 a.m., door open a few inches. But this time, the hallway light was on. I never turn the hallway light on, not at night, not for any reason. The switch was at the far end of the hall near the guest room, meaning if someone had turned it on, they would have walked right past my bedroom door. I stood there staring at the golden square of light bleeding onto the carpet, feeling a pressure behind me. The kind of feeling you get when you wake up in a new apartment and forget where the door is. Except this was my home. I knew every floorboard, every creak, every shadow. I shut the light off, closed the bedroom door, and went back to sleep. But it took a long time for my heartbeat to slow. On the third night, I wedged a towel under the door. A stupid thing, really, but it made me feel better, like the door would stay put. At around 2:15 a.m., I woke up to a soft sound. Fabric sliding. The kind of whisper a heavy towel makes when dragged across wood. I sat up instantly. The door was open. Not cracked, not ajar, wide open. The towel lay in the middle of the hallway, folded like someone had placed it there carefully. Far too carefully. A cold draft crawled into my room. Every instinct told me not to step into that hallway. Every instinct told me something was out there. I slept with the lights on until morning. The next day I checked the hinges, checked the floor for drafts, checked the lock. Everything was normal. Mechanically, the door couldn't open by itself, not that far, not that smoothly. But I wasn't about to get paranoid over a door. I had work, deadlines, bills. Real life doesn't pause for strange nights. That's what I told myself. Night followed night, and each time the door opened, it opened farther. By the end of the week, it was always wide open when I woke. And each time something small would be different. A picture frame facing the wrong way, a kitchen cabinet left open, a chair that wasn't where I remembered leaving it. Little changes, subtle ones, like someone walking through the house in the dark, trying not to wake me. Then came the night when I heard breathing. Not heavy breathing, not human breathing. A slow, patient sound just beyond the threshold of the doorway. I wanted to reach for my phone, call someone, anyone. But I didn't want to move, didn't want to make noise, didn't want whatever was in the hallway to know I was awake. The breathing stopped. For a moment I thought the thing, whatever it was, had left. Then the bedroom door frame made a faint sound. A tap. Like something tall had bumped its head passing through. I felt a weight shift the air. Something stepped into my room. Not quickly, not quietly, just carefully, deliberately, as if memorizing where each piece of furniture stood. The darkness pressed inward as the shape moved around the foot of my bed. I couldn't see it, couldn't hear it breathe anymore, but I felt it. A presence leaning so close that the air thinned, heat rising from the mattress beneath me. Then the shape stopped at my side of the bed. My breath caught, my heartbeat hammered. I kept my eyes closed. For a long time, maybe seconds, maybe minutes, nothing happened. Then something touched the blanket. Not a hand, fingers, long ones. They traced the fabric near my ribs, slow and gentle, like they were remembering the shape of a sleeping human body. Then the fingers paused, pressed down, as if feeling my breathing. I don't know how long I stayed frozen. Eventually, the weight lifted, the air shifted. The footsteps, if they were footsteps, retreated toward the doorway. Then the soft click of the door handle lowering. The door shut. Not slowly, not slammed. Just shut. As if the thing wanted me to sleep again. I didn't sleep again. The next morning I found something odd outside the front door. Something I know I didn't put there. A small folded piece of paper, blank. But when I picked it up, I realized it wasn't blank at all. Pressed into it, not written, pressed, were the faintest imprints of fingers. Too long, too narrow. And at the bottom, barely visible under the pressure, "You were awake." Last night was the worst so far. The door didn't open at 2 or 3 a.m. It waited. I woke at 5:46 a.m., early dawn, pale light creeping across the ceiling, to a soft, steady scraping on the outside of the bedroom door. Not trying to open it, tracing it. Like someone running their fingers across the wood grain, mapping it, studying it. I slid out of bed and backed into the corner of the room, clutching my phone with trembling hands. I whispered, "Please, please go," unsure who or what I was talking to. The scraping stopped. Silence. Then from the other side of the door, a voice whispered my name. Not loud, not angry, just curious. Like it was trying the shape of it for the first time. I staggered backward until my shoulder hit the wall. I checked the lock. Still locked, still intact. But the voice didn't move away. It stayed right there on the other side, breathing softly, patiently, waiting. The sun rose. Light filled the hallway. Only then did the breathing stop. Only then did the voice fade. Only then did I dare open the door. Nothing in the hallway, except the towel I had left on the floor days ago, folded neatly, placed directly in front of the bedroom threshold. And on the door, carved so faintly you'd miss it unless the light caught just right, were the same long, thin imprints I'd seen on the note. Fingers, pressing inward, as if something had been holding onto the door for a very, very long time. I no longer sleep with the door closed. I don't sleep much at all. But sometimes, around dawn, I still hear it testing the handle. Gentler now, more comfortable, like it knows the door belongs to both of us. And soon, it won't need permission. I don't usually stop at roadside motels. Not the old ones. The ones with flickering signs, parking lots too wide for their own good, and a lobby that looks like no one has stood behind the counter since the recession. But I was driving from Montana to Idaho, and a snowstorm hit faster than the weather app predicted. Visibility dropped to maybe 20 feet, and the highway emptied like someone had flipped a switch. So when I saw a neon vacancy sign glowing through the snow, I pulled in without thinking twice. It was called the Pines Motor Lodge, except there were no pines. Just 3 crooked lampposts, a gravel lot, and a 2-story building that looked warped, like it was bending inward under its own age. Inside, the lobby felt stale, the kind of stillness you get in storage units or houses that haven't been lived in for years. The woman at the counter didn't say much, didn't smile, didn't even ask for ID, just slid a metal key across the counter and said, "Room 12 is ready." I didn't tell her I hadn't booked anything, didn't ask why she said ready. I was too tired. I drove around to the corridor, grabbed my bag, and walked up to room 12. The key stuck for a moment before turning with a gritty old lock sound. The room inside was fine, clean enough, dim, warm. 2 beds, 1 nightstand, a wall heater rumbling softly, and a bathroom door on the far side that was painted a strange shade of pale gray, the kind of gray you only see in hospital basements or unfinished buildings. Something about that door made me uncomfortable, but I chalked it up to being exhausted. I set my bag down, kicked off my shoes, and collapsed onto the bed. I didn't plan to fall asleep with the lights on, but I did. I woke up around 1:40 a.m. to the sound of running water. Not the heater, not the pipes settling. Water. The bathroom light was on, a bright pale glow spilling from beneath the door. At first I thought another guest had a bathroom above mine. Old motels sometimes leak sound that way. But the water was definitely coming from that door. I stood up slowly. The floor felt colder than before. I crossed the room, listening carefully. The water was steady, not gushing, not dripping, just a soft, constant stream. But the part that bothered me wasn't the water. It was the fact that the room no longer smelled like it had earlier. The faint, generic motel cleaner scent was gone, replaced by something else. Earth. Wet dirt. Like the smell of a forest floor after rain. I reached for the bathroom knob. It was ice cold, as if the room behind it hadn't been heated at all. I hesitated, then turned it and pushed. The water stopped instantly. The light blinked out. The door opened into complete darkness. No window, no nightlight, nothing. I stepped inside, hand outstretched, and felt for the switch. When I flipped it, the bathroom lit up with a harsh fluorescent hum. Everything looked normal: sink, toilet, shower. Except the shower curtain was closed. Something in my gut twisted. The curtain looked too still, too heavy, like something behind it was weighing it down. I approached slowly and pulled it back. The tub was empty, but the bottom was covered in wet pine needles, long ones, dark green, fresh. I don't know why, but the sight of pine needles in an Idaho motel bathtub shook me more than anything else that night. I backed out of the bathroom and shut the door. As soon as the latch clicked, I heard the soft sound of water running again. This time, I didn't open it. I sat on the bed, fully awake, listening to the slow trickle of water behind the door. It didn't stop until dawn. At the front desk the next morning, the woman didn't ask how my stay was. She just stared at me, eyes fixed, unmoving, like she'd been waiting for me to come out of room 12. "You're checking out early," she said. It wasn't a question. I nodded. She slid the metal key back toward me. "You left the bathroom door unlocked." Her voice was flat, accusatory, like I'd broken a rule she hadn't told me about. "I didn't know it locked," I said. "It did," she answered. Her eyes didn't blink. "It always locks." I left without arguing. When I turned back toward the motel from the car, something caught my eye. The bathroom window. Except there wasn't one. Not from the outside. The wall where the bathroom should have been was completely solid. No window, no vent, no seams. As if the bathroom didn't exist at all. 2 nights later, at home, I heard running water around 1:40 a.m. Not from my bathroom, from down the hall, from a room that didn't have plumbing. When I opened the door to the spare room, the air smelled like rain-soaked dirt, and in the far corner, just beneath the window, was a small pile of wet pine needles. Fresh. And somewhere behind the wall, faint, distant, and unmistakable, I heard the steady whisper of running water. Like the Pines Motor Lodge had learned where I lived and brought its bathroom with it. I bought the trail camera for normal reasons. Deer, coyotes, maybe the occasional black bear drifting near the property line. Nothing strange, nothing supernatural. But the land behind my cabin in northern Wisconsin is old. Not folklore old, older than memory. There are trees out there with trunks wide enough to block the sun, roots like veins pushing through the soil, and a kind of silence that hums more than it stops. People in town warned me about going too deep. Not in any spooky, dramatic way. More like the way you'd warn someone not to trust river ice in early spring. "You get turned around easy in those woods," they said. "You won't know you're lost until you're already gone." I should have listened. But in October, something started leaving prints behind my cabin. Not animal prints. Footprints. Bare, narrow, longer than mine by several inches. At first, I thought kids messing around, maybe hikers who wandered too far off trail. Then I noticed the spacing between steps. Too wide. Like the stride belonged to something tall, something trying very hard to walk quietly. I told myself I needed actual evidence before calling wildlife services. So I mounted the trail camera on a birch tree 30 yards from the cabin. It faced the backyard, the fire pit, the path, the tree line. I checked it every morning. For 3 days, nothing showed up. Then came the fourth. The first picture was normal, me leaving for work at 7:52 a.m. The second was normal too, wind shifting leaves around midday. But the third photo made my stomach flip. It was taken at 3:11 a.m. I was asleep inside the cabin, lights off, doors locked. But in the picture, there was a shape standing just inside the tree line. Tall, straight, motionless. Not a person, the proportions were wrong. The arms hung too long, almost brushing the leaves. The legs were straight, like rigid poles. The head was tilted far to the left, as if the neck couldn't support it properly. The flash from the camera lit its body just enough to show pale skin. Not clothing, not fur. Bare, colorless skin. And the worst part wasn't that it was standing there. It was how it was standing. Facing the cabin. Facing me. As if it had been waiting for the flash. As if it recognized the camera. I stared at the picture for a long time before shutting the laptop. I didn't want to know more. Didn't want to check the other photos. But the unknown gnawed harder than the fear. So I clicked the next picture. Pre-dawn fog, empty yard, shape gone. The next image was at 3:12 a.m. And this time, the shape was closer. Halfway between the tree line and the fire pit. Same posture, same bent head, same long arms. Frozen in mid-step, as if it only moved between flashes, between moments, between knowing. My hands shook when I clicked the final image. 3:13 a.m. The shape stood at the edge of the fire pit, inches from the stone ring. Nothing separating it from the cabin but a stretch of dead grass. And its head, God, its head was no longer tilted. It was bent backward, far backward, like it was trying to look at the sky while its body still faced the house. I shut the laptop so hard the screen flickered. That night, I didn't sleep. The next morning, the footprints were everywhere. Hundreds of them, leading from the woods toward the camera, circling the fire pit, stopping only a few feet from the back door. The earth was disturbed in deep, unnatural ways, like someone heavy had shifted their weight again and again in the same spots. I took the camera down and threw it in the shed. I didn't check the memory card again. Didn't want to see more. But the woods didn't stop. For the next week, I heard something walking behind the cabin at night. Not pacing, not approaching. Circling, slowly, patiently. Always counterclockwise, never the other direction. The footsteps were subtle at first. The soft crunch of leaves, the faint flecks of twigs under weight. But each night they grew heavier, closer. The fifth night, the footsteps reached the porch. Wood flexed under weight, nails creaked, the boards settled. I lay in bed pretending to sleep, heart pounding loud enough to hear in my ears. The steps stopped right outside my bedroom window. The quiet lasted a full minute. Then something brushed the glass. Not a tap, not a knock, a drag. A long finger tracing the length of the window. Up, then down, then a slow circle, like a child drawing on frost. I didn't get up. Couldn't. The brushing stopped. Then something breathed against the glass, Soft, slow, too close. I didn't sleep until sunrise. The next morning, I walked outside with coffee in my hand, pretending to be brave. The dew on the grass sparkled. Birds chirped. Everything looked normal. Except the trail camera was back on the tree, mounted exactly where I had taken it down. The screws tightened, the strap secured, the lens wiped perfectly clean. I know I didn't put it there. No one else has my land access code. But the camera was watching the house again, pointed directly at my bedroom window. I backed away, slowly. When I reached the porch, the wood creaked, the same creak I'd heard the night before. And in the dust along the sill was a smear of something pale. Skin, or dirt, or both. I don't know. I didn't touch it. Last night was the breaking point. I heard the first footstep at 2:50 a.m., then another, then two more. Heavy ones. Too heavy for a man, too measured for an animal. I closed my eyes and listened. The steps circled the cabin once, then stopped behind the bedroom wall. A soft, rhythmic sound followed. Something tapping the siding. Tap, tap, tap. At first, I thought it was trying to get my attention. Then I realized the taps were spaced evenly, the way a camera takes photos at timed intervals. It was mimicking the trail camera, learning its rhythm, replicating it. Then the tapping stopped, and something whispered my name. Not from the woods, not from inside the house, from the wall. As if something tall was leaning both hands against the siding, its mouth pressed to the wood, speaking into the structure of my home. I froze, didn't breathe, didn't move. The whisper came again, this time lower, dragging my name out like it wasn't sure how many syllables it should have. That's when the camera clicked, even though I'd removed the batteries earlier. The shutter sound echoed across the yard, soft and crisp, like it had taken a picture. Of what? I don't know. I don't want to know. I haven't checked it again. I won't. I'm leaving the cabin tonight, packing what I can and heading to a hotel in town. But before I go, I checked the porch one last time. In the morning light, on the wooden step, were two sets of footprints. One was mine, fresh. The other, longer, narrower, deeper, stood facing mine, like something had been standing there before sunrise, waiting for me, watching me, trying to understand how my feet worked, how my steps landed, how houses shaped themselves around the bodies that lived inside. And right beside the prints, pressed into the dirt with careful precision, was the trail camera's memory card. Just the card. No camera. And on the back of the card, scratched in thin, sharp lines, "Don't turn around this time."